Slow down, you move too fast. Gotta make the morning last. Kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun, feeling groovy. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum, feeling groovy.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the bridge this morning. We've got a great guest and a great guest co-host. I'm excited to introduce. But first, I want to tell you that this is episode 119. So we're moving up the ladder there. And just to kind of start us off before Nancy gives us her quote, this is Professor Pete Alexander. I'm going to ask you more later about why we call you Professor. And Nancy LaChapelle. Nancy's been a guest on the podcast before, and Nancy's a former colleague of mine, former middle school teacher, and generally awesome person. So welcome to you both. And Nancy, I'm going to let you start with your quote.
All right. We had crazy weather here in the South Puget Sound area last night, and this kind of resonated for me. It says, thunder roars but does not strike. Lightning strikes but does not roar. Choose to be lightning. That's by Matshona Dilweo.
Wow. Ooh, well, I don't usually do this, but so how does that land on you, Pete?
Well, first of all, if you're in the southern Puget Sound, I'm in the northern Puget Sound. So, and lightning. It's interesting. I like that idea because it's basically taking action without boasting about it. That's what I take from that. And I think that's really good because there's so many people who talk the talk but don't walk the walk. And so and that's what I would get from that.
Okay. How about you, Nancy? What resonates for you?
Well, as someone who's been surrounded by children all my life, as a teacher and principal, how important it is to take action, as you say, Pete, but do no harm in the process.
Yeah. And how it lands on me being, as much as I teach conflict, I'm a conflict avoider. And when people boom with their voice and get loud, it shuts me down. So I would much rather you show me what you're going to do and do it. So, well, Pete, welcome.
Well, thank you.
And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. So you asked earlier about that professor. So I am actually a true professor. I have my PhD. I got it in business and marketing. So technically, my PhD stands for piled high and deep. And so I've taught college classes for a better part of 20 years. I also run an interior landscaping company that provides stress reduction for all of our valued clients. And I'm also a laughter yoga a teacher, an ambassador, and also a improv comedy performer. So I like to keep things going, and I'm an avid hiker as well. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about living here in the Olympic Peninsula.
Oh, you're closer. I'm in the Tacoma area.
Yep.
What's Nancy? So,
yep. So if you know where Port Townsend is, I'm not far from there.
Absolutely. But I have my daughter-in-law's family lives in Port Townsend.
Oh, okay, great.
Port Angeles, I guess.
Port Angeles, yeah. That's on the Olympic Peninsula.
Yeah, so you get your share of lightning and thunder up there too.
We do. And what is very interesting about the weather up here is that it could be raining, pouring rain, or sunny and beautiful, and 20 minutes away, it can be just the opposite. So I've never lived in any place that can say that.
Oh, well, yeah. And you can either be at the ocean or the mountains, whatever you choose.
That's
within
right.
a few hours. So I'm curious. Talk to me a little bit. I mean, you sound as much as you went into business and marketing, which is a very good degree, because if you're not marketing and selling when you're a teacher, you're not a good teacher.
Right. That's exactly
You know,
right.
I mean, teachers make the best, you know, they market good stuff, education.
They do,
Yeah.
and and with my students, I used to tell them the very first day of class, I'd say, my commitment to you is that in this class, you are going to learn something about marketing that's going to help you further your career.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to use that for whatever it is, but you're going to learn it. And so that set the stage for them versus the typical professor that I would see that would just look at their notes and monotone voice and put them to sleep. So
Should be a law
yeah,
against that. I mean, it's just terrible. Um, so I'm thinking, I mean, besides marketing and business, you're obviously an entrepreneur.
correct,
You know,
correct.
like it's like you have probably never done one thing. And I'm not sure how far back does that entrepreneurial spirit go in your life.
Uh, Seriously, it goes back to 2005. But that's when I acquired the landscaping business. I had dabbled in it prior to that, during the heyday of the dot-com boom back in the late 90s. I started doing the internet marketing, basically back in the days of Internet Explorer 1.0 and that thing that used to be called Netscape.
Yeah.
And so I was doing a lot of work around that, but that's what actually got me into teaching because as a consultant, I had to look for creative ways to find clients, and I thought, well, you know what? What if I taught a class that all people want to find out about? Website marketing, for example. And so I started teaching evening classes on that. And sure enough, I started getting clients from that because the students who would come into the class would say, hey, can you come in and help us out? And then I realized that I really, really enjoyed teaching. And so
Mhm.
I decided to go back and get my PhD because I just had my master's degree at that point. And so I went back, got my PhD, and continued to teach classes throughout my college career, as well as after I graduated with my piled high and deep degree.
So I'm going to push you a little further back.
Okay.
Some of those entrepreneurial germs were with you when you were a kid.
Yeah.
What was
So, oh, I could give you a couple examples. So I did the lemonade stand, which but I actually had a friend where we would once a year we would put on a play. And we would advertise it by putting, these little handwritten, poster things, 8.5 by 11 poster that we would do with crayon and
Yep.
pen, and we'd put it up on the telephone poles, and and almost always it was just his dad and my mom that would and we'd do it in the garage. And every time you would think we would learn this after the first time, but we'd have this whole planned out. We did a Western, we did a horror film, I can't remember, there was two other ones. We did four in a row. Um, and every time, it was a half an hour show. And every time would only go 12 or 13 minutes. So then we'd be like, what do we do? And we would just improv the rest of it. And so, and then, I really appreciated, like I said, his dad showing up. His dad was retired, and my mom was coming, she wanted to support it because we were doing it on Saturdays. She was working. And it worked. It was fun. And we would charge, I think we were charging 50 cents or something like that.
Oh,
So,
good.
yeah, it was either 25 or 50 cents. I know that we didn't make more than a dollar.
a little bit further those days than it does nowadays.
Exactly.
But you didn't sell lemonade for intermission. Of course, you didn't have time.
No.
It was too quick for intermission. Huh?
Right, that's exactly it. And we didn't think about that. We should have done popcorn and the whole bit. But back then the popcorn would have been like that Jiffy Pop,
Yeah.
When that that would typically
Yeah.
always
That
burn.
you
So
always burn. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, that's so true about entrepreneurs. It's not the first time you see it when you see it as an adult.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. No, and I did another one now that you're asking me. I had a really fun one that I did when I was in college. So, back, in the days of answering machines.
Oh,
So
yes.
remember with the cassette tapes?
Oh, yeah.
So, I would do custom outgoing messages. So and I would just send them that, because we didn't have the iPhones or
No.
to record it digitally. So I would make a recording. I'd say, who do you want? I'd do my best impression of that, and and is there anything particular you want me to say? And so I remember my most popular was when Reagan had the issue with the Iran Contra scandal.
Mm.
So let's see if I remember this correctly. So I did it. The people loved this one. It was so I'd say, "Hello and welcome to the next best thing to the White House hotline. Well, I can't come to the phone right now because I'm trying to clear up this Iran Contra scandal. But if you leave your name and number at the beep, well, I'll get back to you and send you my resume."
Well,
Oh, that is cute. That is cute.
So I
Oh,
would do things like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I would,
that's
it
great.
depended on the person. I had somebody who actually wanted me to do Lucy and Desi. And so that one, I had to really practice that one
Sure.
because I
Yeah.
could do Desi better than I could do Lucy.
yeah.
What a great idea. I mean,
It
you could
was, yeah.
talk about a comedy routine.
It was, and and I would just sit there on my tape recorder and record it, and once I got it right, then I just went ahead. I would send them. It was you remember Radio Shack? It was those Radio Shack
Oh,
cassettes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, that's
Is this
great.
before caller ID?
yeah, yeah, it was, and so then I'll never forget that same time, uh, or around that same time, the I got my first job. I worked at FedEx as a salesperson, and so we had our own offices, and I didn't have an answering machine at the office. And my sales manager, he didn't have any budget. And I said, "Well, I need an answering machine because if customers are calling me, how do I know? You can't just let it just go unanswered." And he says, "Okay, just buy the cheapest one you can." And so I said, "All right, fine." So I think I went to Target or Walmart, something like that, and it was a 1995 answer machine that had the little, the tapes, and it was the little micro cassettes. And the reason I'm telling you this is hysterical. So I didn't know this, but it worked just fine under normal conditions. But if if somebody was leaving a message and then another call came in at the same time, the machine got completely flustered. And so what happened was, so somebody was leaving a message, and then another person calls in, and I could hear it. It was a customer who called, and the thing just started going blue, blue, blue. It was just going out of control. And then he says, "What the hell was that?" And get this, the answering machine took that, and instead of that being the incoming message, it used it as the outgoing message. So then the next person who calls my office, he answers and it says, "What the hell was that?"
Oh, that sounds
And
like
that worked for you, huh?
Now I had to unplug it, and that was it. But I didn't even know. I don't know how many people actually heard that. But fortunately, one of my peers who was in a different territory, he called. He says, "You might want to listen to your outgoing message."
That's good. That's answering machine improv, huh?
Absolutely, and it was it was before AI, so this little thing just
Yeah,
did its own thing, and
yeah.
clearly that wasn't in the manual either.
Oh, that's good. Good.
Pete, I can tell you might be an extrovert and you're quick
Slightly,
to
yes.
laugh, and I enjoy that. But tell me, I know you have some thinking around the importance of laughter.
Oh,
Could you share that?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It the reason I really picked up on the laughter is, I mean, what's interesting is that our bodies, when we laugh, our bodies release positive endorphins within 5 to 6 seconds. And it's not just a hearty laugh. It's better if you do a outward hearty laugh, because you get the deep breathing along with it. But even if we're smiling or chuckling or just even just kind of giggling a little bit, if it goes for 5 or 6 seconds, those positive endorphins get released, and it provides us all these clinically proven health benefits, including stress relief and lowering our blood pressure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's right now 36 different clinical studies to indicate the power of laughter. But here's the crazy thing. As smart as our bodies are, they don't know the difference between a real and a simulated laugh. It only knows that we're laughing. And so that's why I decided to become a laughter professional, because I teach people to laugh for no reason. As adults, we're told, oh, we're only supposed to laugh if something is really funny. Okay, well, that's fine, but with all of our responsibilities that we have as adults, if we can tap into what we used to do when we were kids, where we would laugh just for the sake of laughing,
Mm.
then we really tap into some power. If you can get into the habit of laughing first in cases where you might just be putting yourself, like you make a mistake, and instead of you know just knocking yourself and saying you're dumb, you're an idiot, instead you just kind of laugh and shrug at it. The health benefits of that are going to be just amazing. I have seen people who have made a phenomenal difference in their lives just by getting used to laughing instead of getting down on themselves right away.
Right. Yeah. That really ties into all the neuroscience research
Mhm,
that is in everywhere nowadays, but it's so true. And I'm thinking that you should talk about being stress reduction. Right now, I'm learning I have a coherence coach
mhm,
who's teaching me how to go into coherence, which is that state that produces the healthy hormones,
mhm,
and to practice it. I mean, sort of like practicing meditation, only it's
mhm.
practicing. And yeah, laughter is very important. So is humming. Humming's supposed to stimulate
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
vagus nerve, and but it's amazing. I mean, I consider myself to be a recovering hypervigilant person.
Mhm, mhm.
I don't know that you could be a teacher or at least elementary, high school, middle school teacher without being a little bit hypervigilant.
Yep. As
And
well as a perfectionist.
yeah, yeah, perfectionist and never turn it off type of thing.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Summer vacation. Yeah. Right.
My husband all that, yeah, don't you ever take time off? Yeah, but it's and I know I was talking on a podcast with him yesterday, and he was trying to talk about he's a kind of ADHD, and
Mhm,
he needs this work himself, and he likened it to just kind of always being on. But I know in principalship, Nancy, and I'm sure this is true for you, you have to be ready at any minute to go into crisis management, where you literally have to be the calmest person in the room or in the building,
mhm.
and help people. And then, you'd be lucky if it took you 20 minutes to unwind. It used to take me 2 or 3 days to unpack from something stressful like that, and then I still wasn't very good at it. So it's really important, really, because your health suffers.
Mhm.
It really does, and it's just a marvelous field to be able to identify yourself with.
Yeah, it is, and, in talking with the 2 of you, I mean, being a parent of 2 kids myself, I had to be around different parents who were not nice people, and I mean, and it just, and I got to experience it firsthand because I used to, with both my son and daughter, I used to be a volunteer in class. I'd come, once a week or once every other week, help out with, like
Wow.
reading or something. I just wanted to do it. It was only an hour, at each time and stuff. But I'd get some kids, or I'd be a driver for a field trip, and I get some kids who were uncontrollable or had just an attitude that's like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me. That there's no way that I'm, I mean, it taught me why I wanted to do college classes is because I wanted to teach those that did not have parents going ahead and defending them of what they were doing that
Mhm.
was so outrageous. And
Right.
so, and I specifically, like, I remember one kid, second grader, yeah,
Yeah.
second grader,
Yeah.
and so so I was held the teacher asked me to help out, as they were doing some writing assignment or something like that. And I kid you not, this girl looks at me and just goes, "Come here, come here, snappy." I look at her and I say, "I'm sorry, I don't respond to snapping of fingers." It's like, I just, it's amazing. And then the parents think that it's the teacher's fault that the kids are not responding well, when it's the upbringing, is the huge
Yeah.
part of that.
It
It's
does.
it's their development years.
Yeah. I remember having little kids, kindergartners, who their parents came in and their parents were so embarrassing. The kids who were bad were embarrassed by their parents.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it just amazing.
Mm.
Nancy, I know you've got some horror stories too about parents and misbehavior and unbelievable. And you're right. I mean, there needs to be. I mean, there's only so much you can do other than, and I'm sure you've worked with this, Pete, and I know Nancy and I have in group work. Is making sure before you go into a meeting, staff meeting, or a parent meeting, that your field of energy is clear and
Yes.
clean
Yes. Yes.
before you go in, because that actually drives the agenda more than what's on your paper.
Absolutely. Because if you come in and you've already got this built up tension, it inevitably is going to go sideways. It
Yeah.
really will. And there's one thing, it's interesting. In the research that I did for my stress book years ago, uh, you know, I thought at first, because of what happened to me, I thought at first that all stress was bad. And it turns out that there's actually two types of stress that we really have to focus on to be careful with. One of them is ruminating about something in the past, which
Mhm.
typically most commonly comes up as we're guilty about something we either did or didn't do. The other one is anxiety about something that may or may not happen in the future. And to your point, Sue, so if you're all anxious to walk into a meeting that hasn't happened yet, and
Mhm.
you are immediately thinking this is just going to go terrible, whatever it happens to be, and you think about whether it's in your professional life, your personal life, whatever it is, you have to have a challenging conversation with someone. If you're thinking, oh, it's going to go horrible, I can't imagine, chances are it likely will at least go worse than it should. And so there's a technique that I always suggest to people, if you have the mindset instead of thinking, so an example, walking into a conference you have to have with a parent and the child or something like that, instead of thinking it going badly, imagine 5 seconds after the last word in that conversation has happened. And it doesn't matter if the last word is out of your mouth or the other person's mouth. But then you imagine that other person smiling, shaking your hand, giving you a hug, whatever is a positive for you, and then just let that sink in before you walk into that meeting. It grounds you. It automatically grounds you, and you're in a better mental condition to make sure that it goes better than you anticipate.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. Nancy, I bet you've got an example for us of a meeting that went well or didn't go so well.
Well, probably. But as you're describing going into the meeting, I feel like I was always pulling people away from me so I could get to my meeting and finding that time's really rough.
Yeah.
Um, hey, Pete,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, you are a giver. It sounds like
Mhm.
you're really a giver and you're an extrovert, and maybe all that energizes you. But how do you stay centered? How do you, um, I bet you have a history learning the hard way about managing stress
Mhm.
and fear. You described some, fear that comes with difficult conversations. And what do you do to stay centered and find your spiritual self or whatever? Um,
And yeah, great question. And just before I tell you what I do, so when I was early in my career, I did the personality tests, and I was heavily extroverted. And now, as I have become much more seasoned with all the gray hair, um, the I am about 60% extroverted. I'm 40% introverted now. And that a lot of that has to do with the fact that, as you said, Nancy, the giver thing, you give out so much energy. And so I have to recharge. And
yeah,
what I have found, I have actually two things that work very well for me to recharge when I'm just by myself. One is that I have a lot of gratitude. So, you
mhm,
know, let's say, let's say, I have a challenging, like I still teach classes here online, and or I'll do for corporates. I'll do 1 hour webinars and things like that. And every now and then you'll have somebody who just is not a nice person, right? It just happens. So what I do, instead of thinking after that, oh, that person was terrible, it was like, I'm very grateful for the rest of the people that were in the class. So you look at it from the gratitude of what little things are a real positive. Like, because early on in my career, when I was teaching classes, we would get the class evaluations after the grades were submitted and everything like that. And of course, what would I do? I'd have a 30 or 40 person class, and I'd go through, and I'm not kidding you, the evaluations would say off the charts, great class, great class, great class, best
wow.
class I've ever had. And then I'd get one that said I didn't like it. And then what would I do? I would sit there and go, where did I fail? Right? The perfectionist, going back to, I'm a recovering perfectionist. Where did I fail? Instead of thinking, okay, 29 out of 30 or 39 out of 40, um,
Not bad.
people loved it. And so I now, one of the things that I tell myself too is, I'm not pizza. I'm not going to be liked by everyone. So the it's having gratitude for what is positive about that.
Yeah.
That is a really positive thing, because when we have gratitude for the little things,
Mhm.
sure, there's the big things, having a roof over our heads, having food on our table, but the little things, like one of the things that I'm going to have a gratitude for today is the conversation that we've had. So it's those kind of things. That is an amazing uh, uh, grounding thing that I do that helps me. The other one is if I do deal with somebody who is a challenging person during the day, I have a 7-minute meditation I do, and it's a forgiveness meditation. And basically, this forgiveness meditation allows me to let that person go, get them out of my system so that I'm not letting it churn inside of me.
Mhm.
That is, because the reality is when we let somebody else affect us, that we're giving our power to that other person.
Mhm.
So it's really up to us. It's all, our what we if you think about it, what can and what we can't control about the situation. We can't control anything about the other person.
Mhm.
Can't. And I'm talking as a parent too, so you can't control your kids. Yeah,
No.
so you only can control yourself and how you respond to things.
Mhm.
So if you can realize that, if you let the other person affect you and let that settle and just you're carrying that, um, then you're letting that other person have the power to influence you. And I mean, certainly there's going to be things that happen, as a family member, job thing that's stressful. But if you can try and keep that in mind and focus only on what you can control, what you can affect change, your
Sure.
stress is going to go down,
Yeah.
really.
I like the fact that it's a 7-minute meditation is awesome because if
Hmm.
you only hang on to it for 7 minutes, you're winning. But I'm thinking that
Yeah.
the fact that you have it, the minute you go into it, you've let go of it. Pretty
Just about, yes. Because what it does is, the meditation, the person who's doing the walking you through the meditation has you imagine creating a stage in front of you,
Mm.
and then instead of saying, you know, go ahead and bring out everybody, it wants your subconscious to bring out who needs to be on that stage that you need to do the forgiveness exercise with. And that's very different than just saying, okay, who do you need to forgive?
Yeah.
Well, our conscious mind, which makes up maybe 5% of our brain, is wants to keep control of everything. And that may say, okay, that person who bothered me, that's the person I want on stage. Well, guess what? There might be something lingering inside of you with someone else that may not have even happened that day. It could have been a couple days ago, could have been a week ago. But if you say to your subconscious, let that come out, then it's amazing who else comes out on stage. And
Yeah.
so and you get the opportunity, and you do a forgiveness exercise with them, and
Right.
then you just let it go.
You take care of a
So
lot of past history as well.
you can,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Well, and then, that really, both of those things that you talked about are brain reprogramming.
Hmm.
Our
Hmm.
default
Yes.
brain is blaming and, feeling bad and we're not enough. And you retraining your brain every time you do those things. And that's
Absolutely.
awesome. If we can
Yeah.
just
And
have it.
what we have to do as well is, the clinical studies say that for something to become a habit, we have to do it consistently for anywhere from 22 to 60 days. So if you can do that, even if, like, let's say for that forgiveness exercise, uh, or meditation, even if you didn't have an experience with someone that frustrated you during the day, just do the forgiveness exercise once a day. Then, once whatever that is, that 22 to 60 days, where it automatically becomes habit, where it's like, instead of, okay, that person bothered me, I'm going to carry it. Now I'm going to do my forgiveness and
Mhm.
take care of it. Or like for what I do too as well, is I laugh, and it's interesting because once the laughing becomes a habit, it just automatically, you know,
Started.
you just do it. You just do it. Like, so I don't get upset about somebody who cuts me off on the road, or doesn't wait their turn in line or something like that. I just chuckle about it now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so because
Yeah.
what's in the grand scheme of things, that's another thing that I like to try and remind myself,
Mhm.
is that if I've made a mistake, let's say, or something happens, what is this going to matter either 5 minutes from now, 5 hours from now, 5 days from now, 5 weeks from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now? Chances are no, it's not. And so why am I wasting energy on it?
Yeah. You put it in perspective.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a good lesson to learn. Hard to fulfill it at the level I'd like to, but I'd
Yeah.
rather teach somebody a lesson.
Well,
It's always good.
yeah. My ex-wife
Yeah.
was really good at playing the stonewalling game, where basically she would just shut down and not talk. And as an extrovert,
Of
that's a
course.
killer. Oh my gosh, that's a killer.
Yeah.
It
So
worked.
yeah, it works because yeah, she doesn't want to deal with it. So yeah. Unfortunately, she taught my daughter how to do that too, and so she still, if she when she pulls one of those, it's like, oh, that's a lot harder on me because it's my kid. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've got some very philosophical, spiritual pieces to your practice.
mm,
And I'm thinking that you may have been quite philosophical as a kid, too. Did you always
yes,
kind of
yes,
jump into that realm?
sure. Well, somebody had to be the adult. So because I grew up in an extremely dysfunctional family. I mean, an awful family. And I mean, people could say, "Oh, I hated my family," or "it was bad," and stuff like that. I had to do 35 years of 12 step to recover from that.
Wow. Wow.
And it was really bad. And it started back when I was 7 years old. My parents combined had 9 marriages, 7 divorces, and one widowing. And I have one sister, 100% blood sibling, who is from a different marriage because my parents, as dysfunctional as they were, decided to get married, get to have my sister, get divorced. My dad remarried, got divorced, remarried my mom, had me, got divorced. So I have a 100% blood sibling from a different marriage. Um, and it just the alcoholism, the feelings of abandonment that were going on, it was awful. And
Sure.
what ended up happening is that I felt like, okay, I have to stay sober. I got to stay away from the drugs and the alcohol because I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so it was amazing how there were weeks, and I'm talking weeks, where I wouldn't see anybody, my mom, my sister, my dad. I wouldn't say I would be, but I remember in sixth grade, for the last quarter of the year, I must have seen them just a couple of times, and
Wow.
I'm here having to get myself ready for school, make my lunch, all that stuff for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about that was I wasn't thinking this is really sucks. How come I'm by myself? It's just this is the way it
Right.
is. So what ended up happening is I didn't learn how to deal with my stress properly
Mhm.
as a kid. So once I got into my adult years and started my career, I just kept on putting aside the stress and not noticing my or not focusing on my body what was going on. And then I was in my mid 40s when I had the first of many crashes because of the physical burnout,
Sure.
and all due to stress. And
Right.
the reality is, um, our bodies will give us
Mhm.
plenty of warning signs that we're
Mhm.
stressing ourselves out. And when we continue to ignore those signs, our body has no choice but to keep upping the ante. And with me, uh, what ended up happening was I ended up my pancreas ended
Mhm.
up shutting down, and there's no diabetes in my family. So just I
Yeah.
stressed myself out, and it was the weakest link in the chain in my body's chain.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and I mean, you talked about being a recovering perfectionist,
Hmm.
and I'm thinking you were a recovering overfunctioner.
Yes, yeah, you have to, because one of the there's all these different roles that we play in our family, and I was the one that had to be the achievement
Yeah,
oriented. I was the comedian too, but not
yeah,
as much. I was just achievement. I got to get things done. Be the first to get a college degree, to
yeah.
get and do everything I can to get out of the house because
Yeah.
I
It's
just couldn't
toxic.
stand it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's very toxic.
Well, you're a survivor
I
and
am.
you have built a system of resiliency that you're helping others with because I'm
Yes.
thinking every time you teach a class and every time you, go into a corporation to help, you know, do a webinar or something, you are putting your thumbprint and, making an impression. And, um, it's wonderful. It's good work you're doing.
Thank you for those kind words. Yeah, you know what? The way I look at it is, um, my personal my motto that I like to think of is that originally was he made a difference, and then I thought to myself, that's not what I want. I want to say that when I'm thought of that I made a positive difference. And
Mm,
so the way I look at it is whether I teach a class, whether I teach um, anything at all, a podcast like this, if one listener benefits, then it was worth doing.
there
That's
you
and
go.
that's really it. So
That's perfect. That's perfect. So, do you have any, I don't know, advice for somebody listening today as a first step towards health or de-stressing?
yes, there's a couple things. One, I would say don't trade your health for your career. It's a very, very bad trade because what I have learned is that there's the two most important things that we have is our health and time. Now,
Yeah,
time, once we've used it, it's gone. Our health, if we damage it so badly that we can't get it back, the problem is, people say, "Oh, I'll take care of my health when I get the chance." Well, I mentioned that think about the last time that you really felt bad. Like, let's say you had a horrible flu. And if they can think back and they remember that and be honest, did you feel like doing anything other than lying in bed? Probably not. And if all you can do is lie in bed, what good are you to your business, your career, to your loved ones? Doesn't
yeah,
matter. That's the key thing. So think about that first, that your health is paramount.
yeah,
The second thing is that stress relief, it can take less than a minute to ground yourself. In fact, I could walk you guys through a very short visualization exercise that I like to use that can be at any point, let's say walking into a meeting or something like that, but you just want to ground yourself, calm yourself before that. So
mhm.
you want to do that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And I want you to go in your mind to a place you like to relax. Call it your happy place. Maybe it's the beach, maybe it's a park, maybe it's a lake, maybe it's your backyard, maybe it's the spa, maybe it's your favorite recliner. Wherever it is, go there now and take in all of your senses. So, what do you feel? Do you feel the sun on your face? Maybe the sand or the grass under your feet? And what do you smell? Do you smell the fresh air? Maybe the lotion from the spa? Maybe you made popcorn for your favorite movie. And what do you hear? Do you hear the wind blowing through the trees? Maybe the water splashing on shore? And what do you see? Do you see the blue sky? Maybe the green of the trees or the grass? Whatever it is, take it all in and take another deep breath in and gently open your eyes and notice how grounded you feel. This is a simple 1 minute or less exercise you could do right before you walk into a meeting. Let's say you parked your car and you've got to walk into even the grocery store and you know it's going to be busy. Whatever it is, the only thing you don't want to do is do that while you're driving a vehicle because you don't want to close your eyes.
Yeah. Using all
So,
the five senses and just
absolutely.
being there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the reason why you want to bring your senses into it is because that makes it real for your body.
Yeah. More grounding. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, as we sort of take our time to a close right now, um, what is a takeaway you have, Professor Pete, for from today's conversation?
I just think it's enjoyable to hear the perspectives the two of you have. You know, I did not do public, you know, elementary or middle school or high school. So you know, to be able to hear from your perspective is wonderful because I'm a lifelong learner, and
Yeah,
I like, you know, and I've learned one of the things that I like to pat myself on the back about is the fact that I've learned one of the ways that people don't stress me out is I just respect everyone's perspective. You know, you don't have to agree with someone's perspective, just respect it, let them be heard. And so, you know, that to me, so I learn a lot more by that, doing that.
yeah,
Really do.
yeah. Nancy, how about you? What's a takeaway for you?
Well, that was really important. That resonated for me because I feel in our culture today doesn't allow everybody to share their personal opinions about things. Um, but also, what resonated for me was you didn't call it a forgiveness journal, but I need to forgive some people who will remain nameless. And it's more comfortable to dwell in victimhood
Yeah,
rather than to get past it and move on. Anyway, I'm gonna that landed on me really well. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And just a little to just add to that, a very powerful thing you can do is to handwrite a letter to one or more of those people. You don't have to give it to them, but you'd be amazed at what comes out when you do the handwriting. And I'm saying handwriting, not typing it, because
Yeah,
there's a different tactile benefit to handwriting.
yes,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Neuroscience connects to your brain when
Mm-hmm.
you handwrite, and
Mm-hmm.
I've heard too it's more powerful to do it with pencil.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true too.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So get out the old number twos and
That's right. That's
yeah.
right.
Oh, I'm just taking away just a wonderful time meeting you and finding out more about what you do. You do great work, and I'm really into this stress reduction stuff because
yeah,
I've done way too much damage to my body by being
yeah.
hypervigilant, and I'm learning how to. I mean, you know, I'm sort of retired, and I'm 75, and I'm still learning, and
Hmm.
you know, we're just so blessed to have people like you on.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
will you come back again?
Absolutely. I really enjoyed this conversation. And because of my sense of humor, and you mentioned about number two pencil, I got to show you this because you guys will get a kick out of this. This is a number two pencil.
Oh, you'll credit that. You know what? Yeah, Nancy will have to get you one of those. That and
I had one of my students give me that, so you can tell that I, you know, in my classes, I brought the comedy out.
That's
so
great.
it's with you for a long time. Then, when you have that reminder, that's great. And you have it
Oh,
right
it's just,
there, yeah, in case you need to write something out. That's great.
that's right.
Oh well, everybody have a wonderful day. This has been a great podcast, and Pete and Nancy, hang on just a minute. I'm going to close off the recording and then we'll do a little debrief. So
Okay.
thanks again, everybody, and
Mm,
have a great day. Bye bye.
thank you.
Bye bye now.